Hey guys, it's Julia the Hufflechick, and I'm here to talk about the Hunger Games movie. I'm okay. Yeah, I super love the movie. Yeah, super good. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this as brief as possible, and by brief I mean it's probably gonna end up being really long and really rambly, and I'm probably gonna fangirl about Josh Hutcherson a lot. I apologize in advance for that. But we will try to keep that to a minimum. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. Starting out, I've seen the movie 3 times now. I saw it at the pre-screening on Thursday. I saw it at the midnight showing, which was insanity. Camped out for 12 hours, but it was worth it. We had really good seats. And, then I saw it again today in IMAX. Every time, I still cry, yeah. Tears count, everybody. I cried 3 times during the movie. I cry during the reaping. Oh my gosh, how can you not cry during the reaping? Willow Shields kills you every time. It's like, horrible. I cry when Rue dies. Who cannot cry when Rue dies? Like, every time. And then the whole, afterwards, you're just like about to get over your tears when they show the whole uprising in District 11. Tears all over again. And then at the very end, I cry when Kato died. Yeah. Moving on. So, acting. This movie was perfectly cast. And I know I said that I hated Liam Hemsworth as Gale, and I'm still not a huge fan of Liam Hemsworth, but after seeing the movie, I think he did a passable job as Gale. I will talk about that more later, but yeah. Starting out, Jennifer Lawrence, absolutely perfect as Katniss. She had the whole toughness, the stony facedness, but at the same time, she was able to bring that huge level of depth Katniss needed. Jennifer Lawrence's Katniss, oh my gosh, so good, so good. She's so badass and so perfectly relatable, and I wish I could be as amazing as Jennifer Lawrence. It's just not fair. Gosh, she's like beautiful and talented, and she knows Josh Hutcherson. I'm so jealous. Anyway, moving on to Josh Hutcherson. Ironically, anyway, yeah, Josh Hutcherson is Peeta. So I am not a huge Peeta fan in the book. I thought Peeta was wimpy. I thought he was kind of a wuss. Always am like, Peeta, you baker boy. I'm not very nice. Honestly, I'm not very nice to Peeta. I feel a little guilty now. When I found out that Josh Hutcherson was cast as Peeta, I was like, oh crap. There's no way I can't not like Peeta now, because Josh Hutcherson is completely, it's not possible to not, it's impossible not to like him. And I've been a fan of his for years. In fact, I went through my old ticket stubs, and ironically, 5 years ago in March, I was seeing him in Bridge to Terabithia. I still have the ticket stub. And look there, see? March 12th, 2007. I'm like, ironically, 5 years ago, I was fangirling over Josh Hutcherson, and 5 years later, still fangirling over Josh Hutcherson. He is, the perfect Peeta, and I really liked how he was able to bring, more strength to the role of Peeta, and the movie Peeta was a little bit he's still pretty wussy, honestly. Yeah, but, he is way tougher, I thought, than in the book. He is, has so many great moments where, his rooftop scene, the scene where they're leaving the district, District 12, and he just, he makes you want to cry, because he's, crying, and, oh my gosh, and then his interview scene is great, and when he's, the camouflage, I love the camouflage, oh my gosh, I just love the camouflage, and the cave scene is just, the cave scene, oh my gosh, gets me every time, cracks me up, but is so adorable, and then, he's such a badass at the cornucopia with Kato, when he, rips Kato off Katniss, oh my gosh, gotta love it, and then at the end, when he's like, I don't want to forget, and you're just like, Peeta, I love you, oh, the heart's breaking for you, man, yeah, he was perfect, and he was adorable. What can I say? Josh Hutcherson is forever adorable. And he plays Peeta. Forever adorable. Do not mistake my Josh Hutcherson fangirling over the fact that I now am really liking Peeta, because honestly, I still love Gale. And now we get to talk about Liam Hemsworth, and I know that I was the biggest, like, Liam Hemsworth hater, biggest Liam Hemsworth hater in the world, because Gale is, like, my favorite fictional guy ever, and I was like, he's gonna ruin the character, and honestly, he actually did a good job, and that was part of the reason why I liked the movie so much, was because I still loved Gale. He only had a few moments, but he really, like, grounded Gale's character and really captured everything about Gale that I loved in the book, and then there were the few scenes where it, like, shows him watching, like, the cave scene, and you can see it in his eyes that he's like, oh, and his heart's breaking, and your heart's breaking, and honestly, at the end of the movie, all I could think was, oh, I felt like Katniss watching, like, I love Gale, I love Peeta, I'm like, I just love both of you, oh my gosh, it's just horrible. So, Liam Hemsworth, congratulations, you surprised me, and I actually really liked your performance, and I hope that you continue to be good in Catching Fire. Then, of course, there's a slew of other amazing performances, like Willow Shields as Prim, so good, Amandla Stenberg as Rue, so adorable, Woody Harrelson as Haymitch, so perfectly Haymitch, every time he says sweetheart, oh my gosh, like, seeing that come to life, awesome. Cinna, Lenny Kravitz, he was phenomenal. You know, Elizabeth Banks as Effie Trinket, Stanley Tucci as Caesar Flickerman. I'm a huge Stanley Tucci fan, so that's just awesome across the board. He's so awesome. And I loved the way they would pan away and talk about him and Claudius Temple-Smith would explain things that were happening in the games, because Katniss is internal monologue. He can't be there to explain things to you. So they explained it instead. So perfect. And Wes Bentley as Seneca Crane. Oh, his execution at the end, it was absolutely perfection. So good. I love that. Chilling. And Donald Sutherland as President Snow. Talk about ultimate creeper. Like, the scenes they created for him were so perfect. And Donald Sutherland just gives Seneca that look, like, that icy look where you're like, oh, so creepy. He's so perfectly creepy. And then at the end when he's all like, oh, that's a lovely pin you have. And you're like, you creeper! Oh, yeah, so good. The most standout performance, or the one that really stood out to me, was Alexander Ludwig as Cato. Like, the first half of the movie, he's absolutely vicious and vile and gross, and you just hate him, and you're like, ugh, I hate you. And then you get to the part where he dies from the mutations, and your heart just breaks. And like I said in the beginning, when I talked about all the times I cry when Cato dies. And you may think I'm a sissy for crying when Cato dies, but that whole thing that he says, you know, about him being, like, dead inside, and just, like, oh, it's horrifying, and you realize that, like, he's a person, too, and that the Capitals, you know, bred him to be this kind of monster, and it makes your heart break. I'm like, Cato, no! That was just, like, really surprising to me, because I didn't know how they were going to do that with Cato, and then, bam. So good. I was blown away. Yeah, so much good acting in this movie. Like, I felt like the whole time you're watching, you don't think you're watching acting, it's like you're watching them be the characters. And then, of course, all the other little elements to the movie, like the costuming, which I thought was awesome. The shaky camera, even though some people didn't like the shaky camera, I thought it was really cool. I thought it worked perfectly for the movie, and I normally get nauseous during things like that, but I did not get nauseous during this movie. I was very pleasantly surprised. And the camera work, the makeup, I mean, Peeta's camouflage, insanely awesome. And then the way they incorporated exact moments from the book, you know, like the bread scene, I loved the way they incorporated the flashback to the bread scene, that was really well done. The, you know, Rue's death scene, the singing, I'm gonna get, like, choked up just thinking about it. The interviews, the Tracker Jackers, they really did such a good job putting in all that stuff. And of course there are little things that they have to take out, like, Peeta has 2 legs now, you guys! Oh my gosh! Never would have thunk it! Or the fact that she doesn't drug Peeta. They can't do that in the movie, you guys. I know he may be disappointed, but there's no way they would have sent in a little parachute and had a little note sent from Haymitch that's like, sleep syrup. Use this to knock him out. That just can't happen in the movie. Just doesn't work that way. Would have been really awkward. There were, of course, little things where I was like, at the end of the movie, you leave and you're like, I wish they added 15 minutes, to develop Rue's character more, to add to the end. I really wish kind of they added more to the end of the movie, because it felt like the ending was very quick, and I wish a little bit that there was a little bit more desperation in the games. They looked so clean at the end. I was like, why do you look so clean? Like, at the end in the book, Katniss looks in the mirror, and she's like, I look like a feral, mad person kind of thing, because she's so dirty and crazy looking from being in these games. But at the end of this movie, it's like, Katniss barely has a scratch, Peeta's got both legs, they're just like, ooh, we look so clean, and there's like hardly any dirt on us. You could do more to make them look a little dirtier. There's no way they're gonna look that perfect. They can't shower. But yeah, you know how it is. Honestly, as a book-to-movie adaptation, I thought it was brilliant. It's difficult to capture the Hunger Games because of the fact that it is so much of Katniss's internal monologue, and so because of that, you have to understand that some things are difficult to create on the screen. Things happen. And I think it was a very brilliant adaptation, and I cannot wait for Catching Fire. And, you guys, it's going to be a torturous wait. Catching Fire doesn't come out until November 2013. I guess the next thing to look forward to is Finnick casting. So, that is what I thought of the Hunger Games movie. Acting was brilliant. Particularly favorite performances were Jennifer, Josh, Alexander Ludwig. Liam Hemsworth surprised me. He wasn't my favorite, but he surprised me. And I loved Woody Harrelson and Stanley Tucci. And I'm starting to ramble again. It really captured, the essence of what I wanted. And obviously, it's not as good as the book. Now I, want to read the book all over again in order to... But it was fantastic. And if you have not seen it yet, what is wrong with you? Go to the theater and see it. It's worth spending the money to see this movie, because it is fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I want you guys to leave your comments below. What did you like? What did you not like? Was there anything that you wish they'd done differently? Yada, yada, yada. Who do you want them to cast as Finnick? I hopefully will be able to go and see it again. I know me and my friends are planning on heading down and watching it another time. Just love this movie. So good. Tell me what you think. Bye!